Hey everybody, thanks so much for joining us. Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, depending on where you guys are in the world. Based on some of the chat, it looks like we have people from North America and Europe, and I'd encourage you guys to chat with us and let us know where you guys are from. I want to thank everyone so much for joining. We've got a jam-packed session today where we're going to be covering Marketo Reporting 2.0. Before we get started, I just want to go through a few housekeeping items. Welcome to Crowdcast. This is a new web platform that as a marketer, I think is really awesome. You guys will notice on the right of your screen that we have a chat. So the chat is really used to, mention to us where you guys are from, or if you have any comments, you can put them in there. Now, down below on the screen, if you scroll down, there's also a couple of other sections. One is questions and topics. So we'd encourage you guys to ask your questions there. Anything to do with Marketo reporting, and we're going to save some time at the end of the session to really go through your questions. Now, another thing, if you guys are familiar with Reddit, there's also a voting mechanism on the questions, so you can upvote the questions that you want us to answer. And then the last thing is polls. So there is also some questions in the polls, and that'll really help us understand, where you guys are at when it comes to your Marketo reporting. Whether you're using RCE, what maturity level you would say you guys are at, and if you use the BI tool or not. This session will be recorded, and we will be distributing it around, and it'll be available for the next 30 days as well as the slides, so you guys don't have to worry about that. So with that, I want to just go over with you guys really our agenda and the goals for today's session. So we've gone through the housekeeping, all that stuff already. First, I'm really excited to hear from Brendan Farnand from Trend Micro, and he's going to walk us through Marketo reporting, how they did it at Trend Micro, and how I think they are one of the most sophisticated companies when it comes to Marketo reporting. Anish Jariwala, who actually wrote the book on Marketo reporting, is going to take us through how they do Marketo reporting at Informatica. And then, like I mentioned, guys, we're going to have a session where you guys can ask us your questions and ask us about anything to do with Marketo reporting, whatever you guys want to learn. So really our goals for today's session, number one is to help you improve your Marketo reporting, right? We all want to make better, more informed decisions based on our Marketo reports. And what I'm hoping today, guys, is to give you guys some actionable takeaways that you can take back to your organization to start improving your Marketo reporting. We're going to focus a little bit on tools today. So some key tools that we have all found to be really useful in helping to get those reports. Anish and Brendan are going to share their stories on what worked, what didn't, and share some pitfalls to help you guys avoid. And then we'll have an open session where you guys can ask us anything. So really quick, just to introduce everybody here. So I'm Piers Eugene Wall. I'm the founder and principal consultant at Revenue Pulse. Basically, Revenue Pulse helps organizations around the world improve their use of Marketo and get more out of their Marketo investment. Brendan Farnand is the Director of Marketing Operations at Trend Micro. He has led their global Marketo implementation and helped them consolidate from using a ton of different marketing automation tools onto Marketo. And then we've also got Anish Jariwala. So Anish is the Digital Marketing Strategy and Insights at Informatica. He is also the author of the book, The Marketing Data Lake, which we will discuss a bit more later. And Anish is definitely one of the so-called gurus when it comes to Marketo reporting. So just to kind of level set here. So at Revenue Pulse, we have a marketing maturity model that we would say. And I personally am a big skier, so I like to relate it back to the different ski runs that you could go on. So it starts from basic all the way up to expert. Now, I would say that this session will probably be focusing more on the advanced and expert side of things, but please don't hesitate to ask us any questions, whether they're basic, intermediate, or expert. We're here to help everybody. And, you know, I was talking with Brendan and Anish earlier, and maybe we need to also do a session on Marketo Reporting 1.0 to make sure that we have the basics covered as well. But I think today's session will really give you guys an idea of what's possible when it comes to Marketo reporting. And Brendan and Anish are going to show you some examples of, you know, how you can, how you guys can get there. So with that, bear with me here. I'm going to just, all right. So with that, yeah, we'll throw things over to Brendan Farnand from Trend Micro, and it's really great, and I'm really excited to share their story, because I remember when we were first helping Trend Micro with their global Marketo implementation, you know, there were definitely some skeptics in the room where we were showing what we think is possible to get them to with their Marketo reports, and some people were kind of saying, no, there's no way that's possible. And now I'm really excited that Brennan is there and they can show these reports and share it with all of you guys. So Brennan, over to you.
Yeah, thanks, Pierce. Hopefully you guys can hear me. Like Pierce said, my name is Brendan Farnand. I am the Director of Global Marketing Operations here at Trend Micro. Before we go through what we're going to talk about today, just a little bit of background about Trend Micro and Marketo. So we implemented Marketo. We've been up and running globally on Marketo for the last almost a year. So this will be our first kind of full year executing in Marketo from a global perspective, which is exciting. And we worked with Revenue Pulse very closely to get up and running with Marketo, and you know, I think we had you know, a good eye on what we wanted to get out of our Marketo implementation from a reporting perspective from the very beginning. And I think now we're really reaping the benefits of that, and hopefully I can show you some of that stuff today. So what I wanted to go through though first is a little bit about the foundations of good reporting, and you know, a little bit about kind of how to set up things in order to be ready for the reports and insights that you want to get out of your reports. Second, we're going to look at the reporting landscape and how we've set up our reporting at Trend Micro. So you'll learn hopefully a couple of the false starts we had in terms of setting up the infrastructure and things like that, and now what we're doing today and what we think is pretty great. Then we're going to actually take a look at some of the reports that we're using to make decisions around the world today at Trend Micro for, you know, investment decisions around marketing and so on. And then I'm going to talk to you about the future, not just the future in general, which would be cool, but more around the future of reporting here at Trend Micro. So hopefully that sounds valuable to everybody. So I'm going to start with the foundations of good reporting. And I want to start by saying, the foundations of good reporting, you think maybe in this section I'm going to talk to you about, setting up a database and figuring out how to get the data out of Marketo, and what reporting tool to use and how to set up basic reports and things like that. I'm actually not going to talk about any of those things when it comes to the foundations of good reporting, because what we've found out over the last couple of years, and certainly we've learned a lot in this past year, but the foundations of reporting, of good reporting, start with all of the very basic, kind of the most basic things in your Marketo implementation. And so I'll talk to you a little bit about that. So this is very simple. These slides are going to be really simple. I just want to talk to you guys about this stuff more so, and feel free to ask questions. But we've set up our system with some workspaces. We have a global workspace, which you can see kind of in the middle there. We've got, which has access to all of our regional workspaces. Those regional workspaces are kind of where our marketers in region are able to go in and execute marketing programs and so on. We also have a collaboration workspace, which is somewhere we can put our content from around the world or from the global team, so that other regions can go into that workspace and leverage those programs for execution. And the reason I show you guys this is we don't have one. We're a pretty large global company. We don't just have one workspace. If you do, I'm jealous, because that's makes things a lot easier, to be honest with you. But if you are in a big organization like Trend Micro, you may need to have some walls around the data in terms of different partitions, and that's what we have here at Trend. And the reason I show you this, and the reason this is important for reporting, is because, and I'm sure as all of you are aware, your instance can get very messy very quickly. So at Trend, we have over 100 active marketers around the world, and when you've got that kind of user base, things, it can get a little bit like the Wild West out there, right? So what we've done, and this is for a number of reasons, but namely reporting, is we've organized things in a way that, so we know where to go to get things, okay? And this is simple. It's a simple concept, of course, but again, this is really important so that you know what you're looking at when you're in your Marketo instance, and especially as things kind of come out of your Marketo instance and you're looking at them from a reporting perspective. So we organize our workspaces in every region around the world and in the global workspace really simply, and we kind of just basically do foldering for every region, for all of our different channels. And you can see this is our example of Europe and the foldering that happens there. And each user, each marketer can go in and they have kind of their own space to work. And not only that, it's not just about foldering, certainly, but the most important piece inside that is the program naming convention. So, we've got very stringent naming conventions, and this is a kind of a global thing for all of our marketers around the world. As they execute programs, whether they're cloning them from our collaboration workspace and bringing them into their own workspace and executing them, or they're creating them on their own, which is totally fine, we require them to set up their names, the names of their programs in a specific way. And this really helps us make sure that we understand what's been run in all of the regions, and we can go back and make sure we extract the value out of the reporting on the other side. So this is an example of some of our nurture programs in the US that we've set up around a number of different subjects, and you can see that again they're pretty consistent, here, and we have this around the world for all of our channels. But basically, before anyone executes a program, it has to be named properly. So we actually have resources here at Trend Micro who do audit all of our program names. We take a look every week or every 2 weeks at all of the programs that have been executed around the world, and we make sure that they're all adhering to our naming convention globally, so that, again, we can understand where they're being executed, and what subject they're on, and all that type of thing once we go to report on it. So now I want to talk a little bit about tags, and this is something that we, I think at the beginning, didn't understand the true value of. Tags are such a simple concept, right? You of course, yes, tagging programs is great. It's important. It's easy to slough off, though, right? Especially for people in the field who are creating programs every day. They don't necessarily double check existing tags if they're cloning programs, and sometimes they're not super diligent at filling out all the tags that they're supposed to be doing. So basically, we realized pretty quickly once we were up and running globally with Marketo that tags are probably the most important foundational item to have in order to actually get value out of our reports. And so again, certainly from a global perspective, when we're looking at all these hundreds of countries and tens of regions, like business units, and all these different languages and themes and solutions that we have around the world, things can get really complicated. And basically, the key here is that if you don't have tags, if you don't have program tags on all of your programs that you'd like to report on, you will not be able to slice and dice your reports in the way that you want. So, once we kind of set up some of our initial reports, we had kind of used some of Anish's expertise actually to get up and running with our initial kind of draft reports that we wanted to see. We realized we had a whole bunch of needs that we had in terms of how to slice and dice the data. So we didn't understand at the very beginning all of the ways that we'd like to see things, right? And so these are just kind of cutouts of some of our filters that we have today on some of our reports. But you can see that some of the ways that we want to slice and dice the data, like there's a number of different ways that you can do this, right? So we looked at, when was the program created, right? What was the source of the program? Was it a globally created program? Was it a custom regional program that they built in region? We'd like to see that. We want to understand, of course, what region the program is being executed in, what BU that's part of. If it's in a large country like the US, for example, we have, different regions that we have in the US internally. So we'd like to see that. What solution is it focused on, right? What channel are we using? Of course, that's a out of the box one. But on the right side here, you're looking at kind of more detailed information. When was, if we're looking at influence, marketing influence on opportunities, when was the opportunity created, right? What region was the opportunity actually in, right? Again, solution, and even we want to be able to do things like search for the program based on the name, right? So we have, again, that comes back to our naming conventions. That's kind of where these two things collide here. So having both the program names and a nice consistent naming convention, and as well as the tags on the other side, that really creates a really good set of metadata, basically, that allows you to slice and dice the data in all the ways that you want, right? So, you know, I talked a little bit about the program naming being audited. So we also do the same thing for tags as well. And it doesn't sound like a lot of fun, and believe me, it's not. But it is really important that all of those things are correct, the naming and the tagging, or else you won't be able to extract the reports that you want to extract out of the data, right? And so, you know, at the end of the day, this comes down to standardization, right, of your naming and your tagging, a little bit of discipline from your marketers in the field and whoever's executing the programs to be tagging things properly with all of the applicable tags for every program that you have. And if you have a large user base, maybe you have some excuse me, some other like external people using your system like we do as well, you know, you want to be able to audit those things on a regular basis. You don't want to just do it once a year, because that's too late, right, to figure out how things are going and have appropriate tags. So when you got thousands of programs being executed every day, or not every day, but you know, you got thousands of programs being executed, you need to have all of those insights into the data. So your reports are really only as good as what what this data, the underlying data, looks like. So let's talk a little bit about the reporting landscape and how we've actually set up reporting at Trend Micro. So we did work at the beginning with doing reports through Marketo directly. We used RCE at the very beginning. As a lot of you guys know, RCE is pretty limiting in some ways, you know, and certainly it wasn't the fastest piece of technology I've ever used. So that's not to say RCE is bad by any means, but you know, for us, certainly we weren't able to extract what we wanted, certainly from a visualization perspective and things like that, from RCE. So we ended up going down the you know, taking the data out of Marketo route, and we had a couple of false starts there in terms of how we decided to do that. We first tried to pull absolutely everything out of our Marketo database, you know, in a kind of a manual way, and we bumped up against our API limits, which many of you guys probably have dealt with. And so you guys know Marketo charges for API limits, sort of thing, if you want to increase that. So we had blown that away by 100 times or something like that. So that wasn't practical. And so what we've done is we've learned a lot over the last couple of years, or last year certainly, and now we're actually we're able to pull the data out of Marketo via APIs, actually, in a kind of a special way, and we learned so much about pulling the data out of Marketo and how difficult that actually is. We actually built a little app in order to help other companies do that. Anyway, I'm happy to share more information about that with you guys. We're also a happy Informatica customer, so that also helps as well. We pull data out of Salesforce as well using Informatica, and we drop all of that data into our Marketo Salesforce database. This is just an SQL database. And this actually affords us a whole bunch of things, having our own database with this data mashed together. But we'll talk about that when we get to the future of reporting trend. So what we're able to do with this database is we're actually able to connect to this database. Certainly when we were getting up and running with our reports and we wanted to socialize and stuff, we really just started kind of building some reports with Tableau from that SQL database. Now where we're at is we've pushed a lot of that data into a BI database, and now we're able to report and share all of our reports around the world with folks using Tableau Server. So we're able to now kind of push reports into Tableau server and provide reports around the world for all of our regions. So we think that's pretty exciting. So let's take a look at some of the reports. So we're looking at things from a whole bunch of different ways, as I mentioned, right? All those ways that we're tagging and things for our programs. But you know, when you get down to it, you know, you need to tell a bit of a story. And certainly when I was socializing these metrics for the first time, these reports, you know, a lot of people had questions that were a lot more basic than, you know, what is, you know, how are the programs performing from an attribution perspective, which we also do. But again, you know, some people internally here wanted to just get a handle on, you know, how many things are being executed, right, in all of our you know, by all of our solutions. So this is a global report, an example of our programs executed by our solutions. So we have 4 different solution areas, and that pie chart at the top gives you an idea of, hey, this is just by region, or for all the regions, how many programs are being created around the different solution areas. And this really just gives an idea of you know, of activity happening in all the different regions. You can see those by what we call modules or themes. Those are broken down in the bar chart, and then the number of programs executed by channel as well. You can see kind of what channel is most popular and those kinds of things. So these are, again, just very simple reports on what's happening in the system. And of course, we can break those down by region and country, etc. The next report we're looking at, and this is kind of you know, telling the story here a little bit, but we're looking at number of marketing touches, so i.e. number of members for the programs by region in this example. So we wanted to see, hey, you know, by all the regions, this is I think one particular regions and the sub-regions in it, but you can see all of the members of the program, so the people that we're touching with the different programs, by the different solution areas, and what channels we're using to touch those people in terms of being members of the program, right? Again, very simple reports. Now we get into kind of a little bit more of the heavier reporting, where we're doing some actual influence revenue and influence pipeline and influence revenue. And we can see, I've obviously blurred out a couple of things here for you guys. My apologies on that, but you can see, you know, quarter over quarter, how much pipeline is being created that we are influencing. And we're actually looking at closed won pipeline here, so revenue. And we actually go ahead and list all the program names by solution area, and we rank them by the pipeline created, the closed won pipeline created in, you know, by quarter, for example. And we can actually see the list of and the dollar values, if we want, next to all of our marketing programs or all of our marketing tactics, broken out by solution area, so we can get an idea of how things are performing and what's really working. The next area here, and I know this is something that people really get excited about, is measuring marketing ROI. And that's something here, of course, that we also want to do, but that takes even more discipline than what I was talking about earlier, right? So you guys know, certainly in my experience, not all programs have a period cost put in, for example, right? So that's one of the big things that we've really tried to push in one of our regions in the US, for example, making sure that our marketers are actually putting in the period costs for their trade show programs, for example, which are usually pretty simple to figure out. And then again, it's a very simple calculation, right, in order to do the ROI and rank all of our programs. We're doing trade shows here, for example, across the US, and we can see very clearly which trade shows are providing us marketing ROI and which ones aren't, right? And of course, we can break this down by region, by time frame, those kinds of things. So I hope that was neat for you guys. the future of reporting for us at Trend Micro, we are looking at doing a lot of things. One thing certainly that Anish has talks about a lot in his book, and something we aspire to do is add in our web metrics into our reporting, right? So we can get kind of even more of an end-to-end view of the customer journey, all the way from showing up on different web pages and clicking on these types of things, all the way through to becoming a closed won customer. And one of the other benefits that I was talking about earlier when I showed you how to kind of how we set up our marketing database, our Salesforce and Marketo data, is that we've done the attribution calculation ourselves, right? So we're not pulling that out of Marketo. We're pulling the raw data out of Marketo and the raw data out of Salesforce and mashing that together ourselves with our own with kind of our today we're using the standard attribution model that Marketo uses, for example. But what we wanted to be able to do in the future, and what having that data in its own database affords us, is that we can actually do a custom attribution model if we want, right? We can change the weighting on what we attribute to, for example, through email programs, right? Do we weight the success of those email programs less than, a webinar program, for example? Those kinds of things. So we're kind of excited about looking at the future of those things, and we're certainly going to be looking to guys like Anish in the industry to kind of help us along the way with ideas of how to do that. So with that, I'm going to pass it over to Anish.
That was great, Brendan. I'm curious to hear, now that you guys have gone on this whole reporting journey at Trend Micro, like, what has that meant for Trend Micro, and how has that changed the conversation of marketing within Trend?
Yeah, so good question, right? I mean, before, I think it may have been impossible, or at least, very difficult to link, any kind of data with marketing activities, right? And I think that's kind of the foundational piece for us is, certainly at a large global organization like Trend, is just understanding what's happening in all the regions around the world is actually a huge win for us. So I'd say certainly the data and having it all in one place now is really the new conversation that happens is let's look at a report instead of let's talk about theoreticals.
And how did that conversation go when you guys finally had reports to share with the organization? How were those reports initially received? And do you have any advice for people who may have been operating, without any reports, and now they have reports? Do you have any advice for how they should share those reports with their managers or their executives to get them to buy in and understand what they mean?
Yeah, for sure. So it's start simple, right? A lot of people, this is new for it's actually a lot of these things are new for me in my career, and certainly a lot of others. So I think starting very simply with like I showed, kind of number of things executed, where they're being executed, what subject they're about, those kind of simple metrics can really make an impact on people and help you tell the story along the way as you get up to things that are kind of complicated, like attribution and ROI analysis, right? So I think starting very simply really helps, and we're still, to be honest with you, right, we're still working on getting these reports out to all the regions and getting everybody on board internally in terms of using these reports. So, it's still a work in process, but starting simple definitely helps.
Awesome. Great. Well, thanks so much, Brendan, for sharing your story. And it's really great to see what you guys have accomplished in a relatively short period of time. So congratulations on the success there.
Yeah, thanks.
Awesome. So I'm really excited to also have Anish Jariwala joining us. I actually first met Anish when I was doing some consulting with Marketo, and Anish used to be the principal consultant for reporting and analytics at Marketo. And, you know, we have kept in touch over the years, and probably, how long ago now, Anish? 3 months ago, he mentioned that he actually wrote a book on Marketo reporting. And I will say that, you know, it may not have been at the top of my list of things to read, but once I started getting in there, it was an amazing book. I actually read it in probably 2 sittings. And for anybody who wants really a roadmap of how to do, you know, best-in-class Marketo reporting, I think Anish has laid out an entire roadmap of what you guys need to do, the steps you need to take, and there's a huge focus on Marketo in the book. So happy to have Anish with us today, and he's going to take us through some of the concepts from the book, but also how Informatica is doing marketing reporting. And there's some incredible stuff in here, especially, I'm especially excited for Anish to show off his ABM dashboard in Tableau as well. So Anish, over to you.
All right. Thanks a lot, Peter. I think there is echo.
Okay, I'll put myself on.
Okay. Thank you, folks. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. It's a pleasure to be on this conversation about marketing analytics and reporting. And I've spent a significant portion of my career in marketing performance management, and I would love to share the story. And you know, why and what did we do here at Informatica, right? If you think about the value appropriation piece in marketing in 2016, comes from reporting and analytics. Let's face it, right? You can run as many email campaigns or webinars you want to run, and you can make your programs very efficient, but you cannot report, okay, I ran so many programs to your CMO. What CMOs are interested or executives are interested is marketing performance reports, what's working, not working. So to me, the value appropriation piece in marketing comes from reporting, and it can create profound impact in your business as well as in your career. Old age question, right? What's really working in marketing? And that's the question, has been bothering me for a long time before I came to Informatica, because I worked in data silos all my career. And when I came to Informatica, that was like icing on a cake, because we have products that can integrate all these different data sets. So what's really working in marketing? That was like $1 million question that I and my manager, Franz Aman, wanted to answer. And what did we do here, right? We connected data from various marketing apps to generate actionable business insights. Many companies, they use 20, 30 different apps. And the challenges are that all these apps are very siloed. They do their own reporting. But when you try to connect the big picture, how all these things comes together, because you do not want to have a fragmented view. You want to have a unified view. And you can only have unified view if you connect all these different data sources. So what is the agenda for today? I'm not going to go into very much detail, but I'm going to share some of our metrics, revenue model analytics, campaign performance and effectiveness. And as Pierce mentioned, we put our own account-based marketing dashboard internally at Informatica. So what you see here is the revenue model, and this revenue model comes from Marketo. You can see all the way on the left-hand side, when you visit our website, you tend to be anonymous, and you engage with the website, you fill out a form. Once the email information is known, you go to MCL, that's called Marketing Capture Lead. Once you engage with our web page or you click a link on an email, you attend a webinar, probably you will go to marketing engaged lead. And when you reach certain threshold score, you would go to marketing qualified lead, and someone from our SDR community will reach out to you and talk to you if there is a further interest in looking at Informatica products. And when you look at all the way into the right-hand side, those are some of the opportunity stages from CRM. And as the lead moves through, we can track that activities as well. The big thing here is if the leads are inactive, say I'm in MEL bucket or I'm in MQL bucket and I'm inactive for 90 days, we automatically push leads into inactive and recycle bucket. Now, what you see here is the funnel performance. Of course, I cannot tell you the time frame for this particular data, but you can see there are 4 columns. What we did, we took the data coming out of the revenue model and we segregated those into 4 distinct segments. Number 1, you can see the web paid. Number 2 is about web earned. And number 3 is Salesforce. And number 4 is list import. Now, when you look at the web paid metrics, paid impressions, we spend significant money on our paid programs, and we generate significant number of impressions through search, remarketing, display, so on and so forth. So that information comes from our Google AdWords, and that results into traffic hitting our website. So that's what you see, paid traffic. We had about 91,000 visitors for a given time frame, and how many form submissions it led to. And you can see marketing capture lead, MEL, and MQL funnel for each and every distinct categories. Now, you can compare these MQL numbers from web paid and web earned and compare those numbers against Salesforce and list import. When I say bucket number 3, SFDC, what it means, the leads originated in Salesforce and came into Marketo, right? Because there are so many different ways lead can come into the Marketo database, and that's what it's all about. When you import the list, you do offline event and you import a list, and that's what list import is. But at the bottom, interesting number is MQL numbers you can see, but we have even lattice lead score, right? So we use lattice predictive score, and it can tell you what is the rating A, B, C, and D. A means they're very hot leads. D means if you get a chance, follow up on those leads. So we can look at percentage mix A, B, and C for each and every MQL bucket on a given time frame. Now, what you can do, I have this on traffic. So people who are coming to my website because they know about Informatica, they're coming through SEO or referral traffic. And what I can do here, I can do month over month comparison or quarter over quarter comparison, and I can do even yearly comparison. So if you look on the right hand side, I just put fictitious October 2016 numbers, and you can compare that number month over month with September 2016. And you can compare year over year as well to capture seasonality. So I'm comparing October 2016 all the way in the right-hand side with left-hand column, October 2015. And you can see how many MQLs I generated, and did I make progress year over year, month over month, and all the MQLs that we created, what is the lattice lead score for these leads. You can see the horizontal arrows as well, inactive and recycle buckets. So those are the leads, they were in MQL, they went into recycle bucket. We ran nurture campaigns, and the leads came from inactive and recycle bucket to MEL and MQL respectively. And trust me, when I used to work at Marketo, I built Marketo Reporting for models. I built models for many, many customers. But when I came to Informatica, I realized the value of it. We present this information to our CEO. We present this information to even our board of directors. Very powerful stuff. And you can see even the on traffic, right? Are we growing our traffic month over month and year over year compare? Now, let me shift a gear and talk about campaign performance and effectiveness. So I'm going to share, what biggest thing in attribution, what we want to figure it out, what's working and not working, right? Because that's very important in marketing, because I haven't met any marketing department that has millions of infinite budget. to work on marketing or spend on marketing activities. Everyone has limited sets of dollar amount, and you want to spend that money wisely, and you want to optimize your spend as well. So it's very important to know what's working and not working. Campaigns that are working well, what is the secret sauce, right? And campaigns that are working well, can you repurpose the content? Let's face it, you cannot keep developing newer and newer content every month, but the big portion of your content should come from looking at the analytics and reporting and repurposing your content somewhere else. If something has worked very well in webinar, what is the secret sauce? Can I put that information in an email? If something has worked very well in the email, can I put that content up on my website? So this is the Tableau dashboard I wanted to show you folks. When you look at this information, I took RCE reports that are canned reports, you can build in Marketo, and I pulled those reports. I did some massaging on those numbers, and I pushed into Tableau. What you see here on the x-axis is the members, that's the membership. On the y-axis, you see the pipeline creation, right? That's the multi-touch pipeline creation information. And what you see, the bubbles here, those are the channels, marketing channels. And all the programs in Marketo, they hang off of channels, so you can see the channel information. The size of the bubble represents successes, so every Marketo program have success associated with it, so you can measure the successes at the channel level. And the color, and the darker the green color, it generated more number of new names. So when you look at in the middle, the web assets, definitely generated a lot more new names because it's darker in color as compared to a webinar, which is next to it. And you can see for a given time frame, again, I cannot share the time frame, but you can see what kind of pipeline we generated, right? And there are multiple reports in RCE. I merged all those things in a single report through using the Rev product from Informatica, and I pushed that information into Tableau. On right-hand side, what you see here is tags information. So you see the program channel, so I can select the program channel. You see the campaign series on the right-hand side. Those are my program tags. So I can look at this particular bubble chart, what we call internally, through campaign series, through products and solution tags. When I go to the next screen, you can look at the program channel. I just selected my web channel as web assets, and these are all the individual programs that are part of the web assets, and you can see the performance in a given time frame. And you can ask yourself, look all the way in the upper right-hand corner, the green, right? It generated a lot of new names, green color, darker green color, so it generated more new names. It had a lot of successes and generated significant pipeline. As a matter of fact, number one when it comes to the pipeline creation. So the question that you would ask, what is the secret sauce of that particular program, which you see on the upper right-hand corner, right? Can I repurpose that content somewhere else on my website or any other marketing channel? I'm going to shift a gear and I'm going to go into account-based marketing here. And at Informatica, we are fairly sophisticated. We never believe in buying a new marketing app just for the heck of it. We like to use our tools to the maximum potential, and we have Informatica tools when it comes to the data integration and so on and so forth. So this is our marketing stack. We use Adobe Analytics at the top. We use Marketo. We use Salesforce CRM for influencers and word of mouth. We use Rio Social. We use Demandbase for detecting the companies that are visiting our website, and Lattice Engine we use for predictive lead score. With that being said, let me shift a gear and I'm going to go into a live demo. So what you see here is I'm in my live demo instance of about Tableau, and I'm going to select a company here. So what you see here, folks, this is our account-based dashboard that we put together. And there are about 200 users of this information at Informatica. We have data sources coming from all the different sources, as I mentioned, Adobe Analytics. We have Lattice Rating, Lattice Engine Score coming in. We have CRM, and so on and so forth. What you see here at very high level is the company name you see in the middle, John & Company visiting Informatica website. Okay, and that information comes from the demand base, and we have industry. John & Company belongs to financial services and banking, and we provide this information to our SDRs/BDMs as well as our sales community. So if I'm account manager for John & Company, this information is very vital for me. It's very important to me to know what are the web activities for John & Company. Now, when you look at the bar chart, it gives me about 13 months of data, starting in October 2015 all the way to November 15th. And you can see the visits and visitors information. That information, again, comes from Adobe Analytics, but you can see the bar chart, how those information is trending. So suddenly in the month of March, probably we were engaged with John & Company, or there was a spike in interest at John & Company on Informatica products because they visited our website. So that's a great indication for our sales team and BDM to follow up with John & Company and see, hey, how can we help you? When you look further down in the horizontal bar chart, those are the products and solutions. So which product John & Company has shown interest in? We are a multi-product company. We have about 8 or 9 big product categories. So it's very important for us to know which product there was an interest from John & Company. Looks like there was a lot of interest in data quality and data integration, and not so much interest in big data, right? Because you can see this bar, there's significant more interest as compared to big data. When you come into this particular, these are all the solutions. So you can see they have shown a lot of interest in data integration, but not so much into Power Center. That's one of our product at Informatica. And this bar chart information comes from Adobe Analytics, or you can call Omniture. They tend to be anonymous. When you come further down, you can see where these folks are coming from. Probably John & Company is a multinational company. They have location everywhere around the world. And you can see, there's a lot of traffic coming from Charlotte, probably. Second is Mumbai or Bombay, India. A lot of traffic from John & Companies hitting our website, and London. The question you would ask me, okay, this is great. Can you tell me which pages they visited? So that information is here. You can see visits and visitors and PageView Metrics. When I give this information to sales, they say, this is great, Anish, but can you tell me who are these known people? Because with this information, I can't follow up with anyone. Absolutely. So as you go into this Marketo ID table, these are all the folks which are known in Marketo database are active on my website. Probably they submitted a form, they came back again to my website, and you can see the first name, last name information from Salesforce. We pull whether they're lead or contact, title, phone number, so on and so forth. Right? So you can see there is a lot of information we collect, and this information is worth millions of dollars when we follow up on the accounts. And you can see even the last visited date here as well. When did the visit last? Because that information gives them BAM. If someone visited on 14th of November, we should call that person as compared to someone who visited on 13th of October. Again, all this information is fictitious. We use our own security filter to filter out the information, but that's the essence I just wanted to show you. I know we are going to run out of time here, so I'm just going to stop.
This is awesome stuff. I mean, I have a question on this one is, you mentioned your SDRs are actually using this. Are they actually working directly out of Tableau, or are they still in Salesforce when they look at this data?
Yeah, great question. So when BDM comes in the morning, their de facto tool is Tableau now, because they want to look at it, and we send them the signals, what happened as of yesterday as well. And they get that information, that web intelligence, what we call here, and they have a follow-up calls with the sales team. So they use this information in their meetings and calling as well. But once they call someone and they want to update that information, then they go to Salesforce.
So you must be their best friend now that you've created this for them.
Absolutely. If something goes wrong, I'm the first one to get a call at 5 o'clock Pacific time in California, because they're based out of Austin office. So if something goes wrong, I'm on the hook to figure it out what happened.
Nice. Yeah, no, that's incredible stuff. I mean, that's really where we came up with the title for this session of Reporting 2.0, because I'm sure, as everybody has just seen, you know, it's really advanced what Anish has been able to do, and definitely extends Marketo reporting far beyond what's possible in Marketo or RCA. Or RCA, whatever you want to call it. So thanks so much for sharing, Anish. That was awesome. I do want to try and get to a couple of these questions. I know you guys have been submitting your questions and voting them up. Please feel free to vote up other questions or submit your own. Just quickly, do want to address also the polls that you guys have submitted. So it looks like, based on the question where you guys are at with your Marketo reporting maturity model, that we've got about 25% of you as beginners, 60% as intermediate, and 4 as advanced. I think Brendan and Anish may be 2 of those 4. In terms of the biggest reporting challenge, attribution is right up there with the big ones. Data inaccuracy, that's always the tough one. APIs and integration. I thought there would be more with regards to cultural reluctance, but that's good to see. A lot of you guys have Marketo RC. That's great. I mean, I know we didn't touch on it that much about RC today, but I definitely think RC is a great tool to use when you're first getting started with Marketo reporting. You know, very quickly you can start to get some good reports that can show you how your programs are doing, and attribution and reporting on ROI without having to do any integration. So I think that is powerful. And then quite a few of you guys are also using a BI tool. So I'm sure, you know, Brendan and Anish's experience on integrating to those BI tools was helpful. So
other important thing here, I just wanted to mention, we have published even the checklist in the book, and I know you put that information even in the LinkedIn. So folks, if you are at a very early journey of your RCE, look at those checklists and make sure you follow those things one by one, because it's very important to set those things up correctly. If those things are not set up correctly, then you have a garbage in and garbage out problem.
Yeah, totally agree.
I think that checklist that you put together, Anish, is awesome, and it really is a great guide. So yeah, and sorry guys, we kind of ran out of time a little bit here. Maybe what we'll do is record some of these questions that we weren't able to get to and send around another piece of content on that. If you do have any other questions, there is a button to contact us directly. And, you know, we're happy to help you guys with whatever reporting questions you might have. I hope today's session was valuable and showed you a little bit into the future of what we think is Marketo reporting. I want to thank Anish and Brendan again for being on, and thank all of you guys for joining today. Yeah, have a good rest of your day. Thanks again. Bye for now. And end. Where is the end button? Oh, there it is. All right, guys. See ya.